Hi guys, hi, welcome to Dinosaur. I'm Lan. I'm Christopher.
I'm Angela.
I'm dressed like a bum, wearing hillbilly sleeveless stuff because I just got done working out and I didn't have time to put on appropriate attire for tonight's talk. All right, guys, we're going to be talking about what is this? Winter storm and winter reality check. You guys, we just had a huge winter storm go through the entire United States. Not the entire United States. I talked to Kelly, and she did not have any snow.
Oh, really?
Out in Utah, of all places. But we did have a lot of snow, and we have a lot of sub-freezing temperatures, and they're going to be continuing to persist for the next week.
Well, Monday it's supposed to go back to normal winter weather, but for the next
It's going to be
days,
cold. It's going to be cold. So we're going to be talking, and there may be another cold snap coming
Nighttime.
through.
Nighttime temperatures are going to...
Yeah, so we're going to talk about, this is not going to be like the usual academic stuff that we do. It's Donis. Hi, Donis. How are you?
It just moved. I don't know if it matters.
It just moved by itself?
That moved. The handle.
Uh-oh.
Swivelly thing moved.
I should have set this up earlier, but that's okay. There we go. Fine enough. Can be a little crooked. Hi, Donis. How are you? Yeah, she's down in Haiti.
Yeah.
So you're down in Haiti where you probably don't get 10 degree below zero freezing temperatures and ice and snow. We currently have a sheet of ice about this thick on top of the snow.
Yeah.
So if you didn't shovel, you're dealing with it. So we're going to be talking about the care of these animals and some of the stuff that comes up that people may miss and not be 81 degrees around your neck of the woods. Oh, shut up. You see, I do not like the winter very much whatsoever. I like it when it's hot, and I like it when it's humid. So I go outside when it's 95 degrees out in the summertime, and I love it. I'm like a little lizard, I guess. But I don't like lizards too much, but I like the heat. But we're going to talk about all of the fun problems that can pop up and things that we may not be thinking of here in the cold climate. And we'll talk about chicken and quail physiology too, because that's important. That's what we're strategizing around is their biology. Anyway, guys, if you're new here, I'm Christopher. Is Angela? Can we already say that?
We did.
Yeah.
A little bit ago.
We are a small homestead here in southern Lancaster, Pennsylvania. On this channel, I do a lot of live videos, do weekly live videos, and our
Refers for a second.
goal is information, teaching, education, and I try to do academic, like learning stuff, not just general information that people just spout off the top of their head. So I like to give good quality information so you guys can learn something or put it in the background and listen. Yeah, the more you know about the critters you're dealing with, like the more you learn about your animals, the better it is and the easier it is to recognize when there's a problem or prior to a problem starting. You'll be able to recognize things that may not be best suitable for the animals, chickens or quail. Most of the people who watch us or are in our niche, they're concerned about poultry, chickens, and quail. Quail are quite popular. Donis, I don't know how popular quail are in Haiti down there, but they've gotten quite the boost over the last 5 years up here. Last thing, guys, down in the description of these videos, I put free stuff, PDFs, and lots of good information that you guys can just click on and print up or read over. Ooh, who's this? We got somebody here. Katrina M. Currently 5 degrees in Minnesota. Very balmy temperature. But you guys are used to that. So Minnesota gets cold, right?
Yeah, it does.
It gets cold here too. I mean, everybody deals with, if you're over 20 years old, you've dealt with freezing temperatures if you live above, I guess, Virginia, North Carolina, that area.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with freezing temperatures year round. Anything you'd like to add?
No, you're fine.
Like I said, we're not going to be doing a usual academic talk. So I'd really like to hear from you guys if you have questions or comments. And I'm going to interview Angela.
Okay.
So how did you feel about the snow, and what was your likes and dislike of snow? And we're going to talk about other stuff too, but I just want to ask her, talk to my
Well, I like snow. I like it's pretty, it's fresh. I like how it sounds. You can hear the snowflakes falling.
Yes, you can.
Everything, it becomes still. All the critters are hunkered down, little Tweety birds, and you can hear all the snow falling. I think that's pretty. Yeah, and I like, having at least a good snow during the wintertime. But as far as things I was thinking about concerning the animals, our little homestead. I was thinking about shoveling snow and wanting to do it in phases because we knew we were getting a lot. And
Well, that's important because some people can't, they're not in good health and they can't be
That's
doing
true.
hours of like
Yeah.
physical labor.
yeah, so that was for us. We were thinking doing shift works, doing a cleaning time while it was just a couple inches at a time, so it wouldn't be so heavy. But
Yeah,
because our critters, they don't like stepping in the snow.
I
So,
don't like stepping in the snow.
yeah,
Yeah, so we did that for, I guess, 12 hours one day and
yeah.
a few hours the next. Anyway, it was a lot of labor. We were pretty healthy, so all my friends on Facebook are, don't have a heart attack.
Yeah, I didn't mind it at all. I actually enjoy it. But yeah, it's definitely tiring.
It is. It's tiring. You know what? I pretended I was living in northern Russia during like winter time, and I was like, digging out for my Eskimo dogs.
Yeah.
So I just put my brain somewhere else, and it wasn't so miserable. It's not miserable. It's just something you deal with. I like physical labor. So that's a good thing about a homestead. If you do enjoy physical stuff, and you're doing your little farm or your garden, it's physical labor. It's rewarding. You're doing something. You're out in the sun and you're moving about. And even in the winter, the only thing I really don't like about it is having to put on so many layers of clothes. Otherwise, it's fine. It gets dark early and it's cold, but cool. Very good. Do you have any questions for me?
Did you have a question I should ask you?
No.
No.
You're right. Come on. Okay. You're not going to be a reporter on the street. All right. Cool. Winter storm reality check. I'll be discussing some stuff here, obviously about winter. Oh, my disclaimer. If I happen to talk about medical or animal husbandry, this is not veterinary advice. Got to tell people this. Go to a professional vet to have your animals examined and tended to, and don't listen to random weirdos on the internet or Facebook for veterinary advice. But but the stuff I present here, I highly encourage you go look at, especially the teaching videos. There's a lot of information in there, and I hope you guys go investigate that stuff to confirm, not only just to make sure I'm correct, and I do a lot of, what do you call it?
Research.
Yeah, but to confirm that everything's accurate.
Right, cross-referencing.
Cross-reference everything. But not only are you checking whoever you're listening to make sure they're correct, but then you're reinforcing the information because you're actively seeking it out, and it just chips a little extra part in your brain for memory. It helps with memory recall. Cool. So brief recap of the storm. Everybody, we just talked about that. Cross country, we got 16 inches in some places. Not too bad. I'm looking forward to the melt because it is going to serve our water sources, because we have a spring that seemed to have gone dry, which has been running for many years. And the snow is going to saturate into the mountainsides and hills, hopefully, because we have this thick lay. And it should provide the spring life again, where we're getting water.
Yeah.
I should hope. So, cold is a duration problem. I have a little outline for this. Cold is a duration problem, not a temperature problem, which is true in the context of our animals. Duration, not temperature. So we're dealing with cold temperatures, and they can handle them, but as time goes on, it compounds and it's burdened with other stressors that the animals are experiencing. So did you want to say something?
Sure, yeah. So when they're in their regular temperatures, where they're not having to deal with sudden harsh winds, even with wind blocks, but just the really that extreme temperature drop, and for days on end, that's going to affect their behavior patterns.
Yeah.
And they're used to milling about, eating a certain amount of food at a certain time, but now they're focusing more on keeping their body temperature consistent and controlled as much as they can. So they might not be moving around too much. They might be kind of hunkering in certain areas that are slightly warmer of their enclosure, and not eating as much as they normally would, which, their bodies are still using energy to stay warm.
More energy.
Yeah, more energy.
More energy.
So
you should notice that they're intaking more feed if you're in a cold snap. That's lasting for a while.
Yeah, and they will, as long as they're properly cared for. And that's something that, it's important to take precaution before these storms come through, and winter prep anyway.
Chickens have a high metabolic cost. The metabolism, when people say metabolic cost, it's some of all the chemical processes going on in the body. But a cool thing, a general understanding for context, the amount of calories a chicken's eating a day, if you scaled a chicken up to human size, like a 180-pound chicken, they would require about 11,000 calories. And I use that because people are familiar, like a human eats about 1,800 calories or so a day. So you're talking about how much higher that metabolic cost is and the energy cost in a chicken for their body heat and their processes, egg laying, and et cetera. So a chicken, if it was a big old human-sized chicken, they'd be eating 10,000 or 11,000 calories a day. And in the winter, significantly more, probably 16,000 calories if it was a human-sized chicken per day. So they do increase their intake because of the cold, and I'm going to get too much off track. But going back, it is a duration problem, not a temperature problem, meaning that they can handle the cold. The chickens are very hardy. They're built for the cold. Birds are built for the cold. They're insulated for it, and they can handle it. However, because their body's burning more energy and they require more fuel, and they're going to avoid, like Angela said, avoid the cold. They may remain stagnant in an area. They're not going to be milling about, scratching and pecking, ground's frozen. But their behaviors are going to change.
Even visiting their feeders and waterers, they may not be doing that as much as they should because they're just wanting to kind of hunker down, maybe staying in the coops or staying in they're really. So it's nice if you have a space, a coop that's large enough to safely supply them with some food and water during the day. I don't recommend keeping water in throughout the nighttime. You don't want it to get wet. You don't want wetness in the coop.
But We're going to talk about that later. It's not the cold that kills chickens. It's the wet.
Yeah. So anyway, keeping that in mind, though, if you're able to give them food and water in a coop. Not everyone has a large enough coop because they have shelter areas, in their property for the birds to go visit. And maybe they have mixed flock. So it's just, they take shelter outside of the coop during the day.
Oh, something that's not on this outline, their little feet. So if it's icy out there, you got to chip away the ice. You don't want them standing directly on ice the whole time.
Yeah,
they lose heat from their feet.
Yes,
and their legs.
Like the silkies.
Hold on. I'm not suggesting that just because you're taking away snow, they're not losing heat anymore. They're still going to lose heat through their feet.
Right.
But just to let you guys know, one of the ways the birds dissipate body heat is through their feet. So that's why they're
so when
in their legs.
I was cleaning up some of the silky run areas, there were a few silkies that were just kind of standing in one spot, and then they shuffled over, and the snow was still fresh, and they have funny feet. They just make me think about like E.T. I don't know if you guys remember the movie E.T., his funny feet, but like there's the footprints of the silkies, and they had their feet melted the snow. So they were clearly losing their heat was going through the feet is, what I'm trying to say. But it was fresh snow, so it was nice. But anyway, it is important to have either bedding, some sort of temporary bedding that they can stand on if there's going to be snow, hard, cold snow, ice that's not going to be removed or you're not able to remove it. It's important to have them be able to stand on something that's not ice or like that cold snow all the time. First of all, they don't really like standing on it, the birds. But they can have damage to their feet.
I'm going to ask Angela a chicken-related question. Ma'am, have you noticed what are the behavioral changes you've noticed in your chicken birds due to the severe drop in temperature and snow? I put it on the
Yeah.
spot.
So the biggest thing is they don't like to touch the snow. They don't have to. And this is, we have our layer. We have some golden comets, and then we have our silkies. 2 different types of chickens, very different, and they prefer not standing on it. And they'll skitter across to get to a clearer area, like maybe underneath the coop. So yeah, they'll skitter across to get to the bedding. They definitely don't like the snow.
Yeah, so when it started snowing, one of the fun jobs was digging out the chicken patches, like their runs.
Yeah, and even our ducks. We have Muscovy
ducks.
ducks, and they have their feet, is different. The water birds are different because they can go in frozen lakes and stuff. Yeah. But even them, I can see when they come out of their coop and walk onto the cold snow or cold ice, it's kind of a shock. Like, they don't like it. Yeah. And I have bedding out in their little areas, and they'll go stand on the bedding, and then they'll pull a leg up to warm it, just because it was such a difference. And then they're fine. Then they stand and they're totally fine and adjusted, but they even prefer standing on the straw.
Yeah. So like if they had feathers on their feet, they wouldn't be doing that. That's where they're losing their heat. And with the wattles too, the exposed.
Yeah, with chicken breeds that have really big combs and wattles, specifically like roosters, but some of the hens do too. You do have to take more precaution, especially with the wind, harsh winds.
So what's happening with that? Just a very simple explanation. The blood's going up, exposed to the cold air, so it cools and it comes back down. Mm-hmm. And that helps to bring that body temperature down, which we don't want because it's so cold out. In the summer, it's good because it goes up and it can dissipate chicken heat. And the same with their legs. Their legs, the blood flows down, it's exposed to the air, cools slightly, and comes back in. It helps regulate their temperature. So that's how they're losing that up there. Mm-hmm. The insulation of the feathers is excellent. I mean, those things, the birds are very, very well insulated. They have multiple layers of insulation because the feathers layer. Right? So it's trapping air. And that's what's keeping the bird warm. It's kind of counterintuitive. Everybody, I got to put on warm clothes. No, you're not. You're putting on clothes. Clothes are not warm. Your body's warm.
Your body makes it warm.
Your body traps air and keeps you warm. The clothes are not warm. Same with the feathers. Feathers don't warm them. Feathers trap their own warmth. And it's very, very well designed to do that. So you have that warm pocket of air. And you have an insulator that can't really get through too well, which is that cold air.
And one more thing I wanted to mention, roosters in particular, who have the big wattles, take precaution with waterers during the cold season. And it's, recommended not to have a tub of water, a container of water for them to drink from, so that their wattles get wet. If they are wet and then they're in this very, very harsh temperatures and they'll freeze, they'll get damaged,
Oh, frostbite, yeah.
Frostbite, yeah. And that's, so if you have those type of chickens, then make sure to have a waterer that they can drink without getting themselves wet.
It's one of those words, waterer. Mm-hmm. It's like masks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thought about that word
English,
a lot.
English language. Okay, cool. So we talked about cold as a duration issue. I don't want to get too off. All right, frozen water. Frozen water is obvious. Frozen access is the issue. So if you get online, you hear all these people, how do I keep my water from freezing? Well, you keep it above freezing temperatures. That's it. I saw the funniest one today. I showed Angela. A woman was on one of the chicken sites and said, I heard that if I put a boiled potato in the water, it keeps it from freezing. That's potato physics, but that won't really actually work because unfortunately the potato will find equilibrium with the temperature outside and freeze as well. It doesn't actually do anything. But these are like folk remedies, like all these folk remedies you hear about, like, I give oregano for this or that. It doesn't work. But it's believed to work because it's observed in conjunction with an effect. So people jump to the conclusion that cause and effect. I'm noticing this variable was introduced and I'm noticing this outcome. So it was this input that caused that outcome. That's not always true. So, and some of these folk like remedies and treatments people have been using for years, but they don't actually do what they're doing. It's just correlation. And nobody likes hearing that. They get so mad. You tell people that, yeah, pepper flakes are not keeping your chicken hot. They don't warm up your chicken.
Oh, yeah. Different type of body.
Yeah, so I don't want to talk about that because I'll get off track. So
yeah,
let's talk about frozen water.
Warm. Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about frozen water. We all keep the water warm. You put in a defroster or de-icer.
Yeah, there's different types of de-icers.
So the problem with water, and we have one right now because of our spring is empty.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a frozen spring, but is fittings and hoses and things that are freezing and things that you forget about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially lines. Maybe you turn the line off and you drain it, but you didn't drain it properly. You had one little place where it dipped, and now you have a 6 or 7 inch block of ice in a hose, and of course the bursting of pipes. So we have a pipe that we use very frequently. It's one of those Amish people pumps, and it froze. This is weeks and weeks ago. It froze, and I was trying to, and it went, and it came off. It popped the cap off because it was frozen stiff. So simple solutions to that was heat tape. Heat tape's not tape. It's just it's a heating element in plastic,
like a wire,
like a long wire that you wrap around pipes that will click on once it gets below freezing and stay warm to about like 40 or 45 degrees. It's not going to make it hot. Like it's around 40 degrees above freezing. So it keeps those pipes from freezing and bursting. Heat tape, however, gosh, it was dangerous because people were using it and they did not know how to install it, and they were wrapping it over itself and crossing the lines, causing arcing. So you'd have an electrical arc and burning up houses. Yeah, so you gotta be careful.
Yes, do research, whatever it is.
Even with the
there's so many
heaters, you have to be careful.
There's so many educational videos on the YouTube that are short and to the point to watch.
Yeah, having water on the property does not being able to deliver it, and that's really the issue.
Yes, you might be accustomed to running a hose of water or walking buckets of water or however you're getting water to your waters, your containers of water for your animals. Now, if the landscape is completely different, if there's a foot of snow and it's covered in ice, and you have to clean trails, to make the trails walkable to get to the animals, that's something to consider and think about. And then also the process of getting the water to where you have to get it to, is it now safe to do?
You're forgetting the funnest part. You have to do it multiple times a day.
Yeah.
And it's labor intensive and it's a lot harder. So the winter time, I say this, my way of synopsis of the winter is it takes 10 times as long to do anything. It takes a lot longer. Mm-hmm. You're getting dressed. You're going to be going out a couple more times. And that's more of a psychological thing. Like if you're a robot, you don't care. Mm-hmm. Time to feed chickens, and you go out and water them. But it gets on a human's nerves to break their routine that they're used to spring, summer, and fall, where they do this once a day. Especially when it's something that probably won't last. It's a brief snippet of time that the weather is what it's going to be. Yeah. Oh, and that's a great segue. We're going into, so we talked about broken spigots, hoses, valves, buried lines, and other things that can happen. Things getting frozen into the ground. Like if there's something you're moving around frequently and it's frozen in the earth, be aware of these things. Mm-hmm. But that segues into human behavior under cold stress. We get lazy. We postpone things. So cold is a stressor for us, for the humans, not just the chickens. We don't want to deal with it. We're hesitant to go out. So now the birds' feeding schedule's changing, and they like routine. They do. All creatures, really, for the most part, do. So if you're not, what do you call it? What am I saying? Well, if you have to change the routine because suddenly for a week, the temperature is going to be like dangerously cold. They may not be getting their food and may not be getting to their food and water, especially like when they're first thing in the morning. It popped in my head.
Take a couple hours.
If you're not disciplined, like self-discipline.
Oh, okay.
Like if you're not self-disciplined to do these things, then you're screwing up schedules, becomes intermittent or changed, and it becomes very stressful. But we change under these stressors. So we skip stuff. We delay things. We don't fix things, and it's much harder to fix things in the cold.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need to have this
Yeah.
stuff. So human behavior changes. We change. We acclimate to this new stress environment, and we don't think of it like a stress environment. Technically, it's not optimal, and we have to adapt to it, and it's out of our normal scope, and we change a little. Oh, I don't feel like going out now. It's freezing cold. I'll wait for 2 more hours. Meanwhile, chickens are like, where's breakfast?
And it takes, twice as long to do the task that you're going to go out and do. And you might not consider that.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just part of life.
It's just things that
and if you're
you
doing,
consider.
yeah, if you're raising these animals, it's something you have to be aware of
Mm-hmm.
and not let it demoralize you. I think that's a bigger issue because you can easily get demoralized.
So it's good to make a plan. Again, we're talking about like sudden extreme storm or weather change that's going to affect routine and how you function. Then it's good to make a plan at the beginning of each morning or even at the end of each day for the next day. Like, how is this day going to look? What's the priorities to take care of? And this is generally what we would normally do anyway, but this is even more so prioritizing the priorities because there are going to be things that are not going to get done because, again, if you're shoveling or if you're doing snow removal, even if you're using machinery, it's going to take time to do.
Yeah, the machinery, you guys with bigger farms where you have big machinery, that stuff freezes up. Diesel stuff and like starters.
Yeah.
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 That's a stressor. And then it gets frozen in place, stuck.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't dig out properly. All right. Yeah, what were we talking about? Human stuff, energy, human stuff. All right. Energy, your energy sources, your energy dependence. That's a critical issue. So, I mean, with waterers, yeah, you can, empty them out. But like if you're incubating stuff and you have water heaters in there, and you're also living in a place that you like to have heat in and electricity, that's something to be aware of. Like most of the electrical issues we have at this time of year are taken care of relatively rapidly. However, there's people that are out of electric for days and days.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the weather, type of weather, conditions, trees sometimes come down because they're weighted. Branches sometimes come down.
Yeah,
and
so this is like
lines, power lines.
Yeah, it's a planning issue.
Yeah,
like
so
expect a power outage, so when it's happening, you're not freaking out.
Yeah, like
so
plan.
For example, during a snowstorm, everybody bought generators. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people were buying generators. Generators were selling out again because of the potential for a power outage. Now they're buying these generators for what would equate to like 24 hours without power, most likely. Not going to be a long-term duration. Could be, but likely it's not going to be a long-time thing. So there was a little bit of panic buying, but it's always good to have a generator or something for supplemental electricity. A lot of you guys might be incubating critters, right? And then when the electric goes out, the heat goes out, and then you're not incubating critters.
No, you're not.
You're holding dead eggs.
Yeah,
That's not good.
So you want to formulate a plan, even if it's a basic one, ahead of time, if you know weather's coming. So if you have an incubator running, have a heavy duty blankie or 2 blankets or towels
like
nearby to to put it over top the incubator immediately as soon as you can to try and keep that heat in from escaping as you're waiting for electric to come on. Have more than one. If you have heating elements like the bird bath de-icers, they submerge and they keep the water from freezing. If you have different like heating elements or electrical things, it's good to have more than one. Like have a spare in case something fails. Then, because that's going to cause more work for you if you're going to have to either be removing iced water daily and refilling daily, or that sort of thing.
Of course.
And yeah, just anything that you have. Like look at your system that you use and what you depend on. If that's electric or whatever. If it failed, how would that affect you? And what should you do as a backup plan?
Be aware of your power draw too, you guys. I don't know how much you know about electricity, but you can't plug 5,000 things into one outlet drawing a lot of power. You're going to cause a breaker to go out or you're going to fry something. So you can't like, our animals need I need a heaters here, 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 here. And you're running tons of components off of an extension cord running through the yard. Drawing all that energy from that one point can overload it, and then you'll be asleep. And something happens in the middle of the night.
That is a very
freezes.
good point. Yeah, make sure you're using things safely, because you know you don't want to put yourself in a potential emergency situation where you don't want to have to depend on emergency personnel having to get to you
over a chicken.
Extreme weather conditions.
And that happens. You see house fires because of chickens.
Precaution.
Oh, a good way to segue into this. You see house fires because of chickens because they add heaters. We don't need heaters. No, I know. It's 5 degrees below zero. Doesn't need a heater. The chicken's insulated, and it's hanging out with other insulated chickens. We think they need heaters because it's cold outside, but they're not cold under their blanket of feathers. So I go out and I'm outside all day long for hours and hours and hours in sub-freezing temperatures, and I'm toasty warm because I have a few layers on. Now, these chickens are coated in far superior insulation, and they have a higher body temperature.
And they're in a coop that's ventilated, that's dry. And
that's what I'm getting at. Moisture is worse than cold. That was moving into because of the heat lamp thing. So we did a video about this a couple of weeks ago about proper coop design, and particularly in the context of wintertime. Again, this is all like human mammal intuition. I want to keep my chickens warm, so I'm going to seal my coop up because there's no heater in there. The coop's going to be as cold as the outdoors, without the wind. It's going to be a couple degrees warmer, honestly, because of the chicken's body heat, but nothing significant. But what is happening in a sealed coop is you're not having airflow. And an adult hen will breathe out about a liter of water. Is that right? In a night?
Yeah.
Or is it half a gallon? No, it's about a liter. It's a lot of water. These chickens will respirate a significant amount of water, and we don't think about that because you can't see the water vapor. But I always say, like, when we're outside and you breathe and you see that white, that's all water. And the chickens are doing that constantly. Smaller mouths, but they're still breathing. So if there's not ventilation, what happens in the coop is there's condensation. Condensation is water and moisture, and that water gets into the bedding, causes respiratory problems, starts releasing ammonia, and gets into the air. It's not good for the chickens. And it can They get wet. If they get wet, it defeats the insulation. Like if you sprayed your chickens with water, they'd be dead.
Yeah, it's like misting them, and then they go outside and they're not dry anymore. Yeah,
it'll whisk away their heat, and they'll croak out pretty quick. With the wind, so there is a wind chill. I was listening to a guy talking about wind chill doesn't exist. And I think what he meant was that the temperature is the same whether the wind is 0 or 30 miles an hour, which is true. However, the way the wind chill works and why we like to have windbreaks for the chicken is the same with us.
And the quail as well.
If you look at an image of a thermal image, you're going to see the main, whatever the organism you're looking at, and you're going to see a dissipation of heat. There's a ambient,
like their face,
where they're radiating heat,
is going to look red, and then their feet will look red.
So you have a little thin buffer area where you're releasing heat, and when that buffer area is being blown on, you have all this air coming across, cooling the surface and removing that barrier. And you get cold, and you get cold quick, and chickens will get cold. That's why we feel cold.
And it's gonna, it'll ruffle their feathers and break that barrier of heat underneath their feathers.
So when we're hot in the summer, we want to get cold, so we stand in front of a fan, that air, I don't call that wind chill. It's the same thing. It's causing wind chill, causing evaporation, and removing that pocket or that buffer zone of warm air off your body, allowing heat dissipation to go out into the air and cool you down. Same with the chickens in the winter. So we want to have a windbreak, and in the coop we want to have it not completely sealed. We want to have proper ventilation, but we want to make sure that it's not getting drafty because of the deadliness of moisture to chickens in really all time of the year, but particularly in the winter time with condensation and what is it, the wet litter. Okay, speaking of wet litter, all right, so moisture is worse than cold. We discussed that. And so I think that's actually that's a very common misunderstanding. It's a long-held belief, and don't take my word for it. Go look into the poultry veterinary documentation in science. You can find that stuff. There's tons of information about chickens and quail at a very professional, credentialed academic level because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Okay, they're not relying on Facebook posts to make decisions for these businesses that are raising hundreds of thousands of chickens, right? So they have to have good data. So there's plenty of good data on that. What were you going to say?
Nothing.
I was moving into droppings and all that fun stuff. So the manure is starting to freeze when it's really, really cold like this. It's hard to clean. We have a droppings board, and you have to like icebreaker, chip it off and clean it. But if you don't, you're going to have a warm day come around, and you're going to have all of this accumulated chicken's droppings. Not good, especially if the cold snap is followed up with a warm snap where everything melts and you have water and you have moist conditions and you have melted chicken poop. You're going to have all potential for a disease outbreak because environment can handle droppings. Okay, it's a system and it handles this. But when it becomes overwhelmed, all these subcomponents of that system break down, and you can have instigation of a disease or outbreak of germs, and they can start susceptibly getting overwhelmed by them. So that's why we keep cleaning. Something we talk about regularly, cleaning the coop, making sure you don't have to sterilize it, but making sure it's kept clean. And that'll really take care of most potential issues. Like most of the chicken stuff, if you just take care of them properly, you're not going to have problems.
Right.
Sometimes you can have problems. Like we talked about coccidiosis last week. That's present in the soil. Different things can break down and they can get overwhelmed. But coccidiosis is usually present. It's common anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about frozen poops, which is fun. Moisture being bad. Anything else important? Last thing. I think we'll finish up with one last thing, which we talked about earlier. It's going to be feed and waste. So the chickens are they're going to be eating more, but they're probably going to be wasting more. Feed, if it's really cold like it is now, it freezes pretty quickly, and they can't get to it. But somebody can get to it.
The rodents.
The rodents. Nothing. That's like ice cream to rats. They come out at night. So
They'll start thinking, oh, it's good to camp by near this location.
And who do you think? I mean, it's cold out. The food is even more scarce. So opportunistic little rodents are definitely going to be snooting around with that feed waste that might be lying around. So be aware of that, because the rats, they're like, oh, wait a minute, why am I eating this? I can eat chickens.
Yeah, and sometimes, like if you're cleaning out an area or you're giving them new feed, sometimes with these really cold temperatures and like snow and the frozen temperatures, then we may get a little messy, not as tidy maybe with food. Like if we're removing some frozen food and we're gonna give them some fresh stuff, we might just push it over to the side and not think much of it because it's frozen. But then, like Christopher said, suddenly things warm up and then that thaws out and it can become a quick mess that's now harder to clean because now it's like in the ground,
muddy.
Yeah, so then that's definitely going to be like you have to make sure the rodents aren't taking advantage. So yeah, so it's just proper planning, thinking things through, and dealing with fatigue. You're feeling fatigued, dealing with the cold and the more energy that we have to put out to do the normal tasks that we usually do. So
Kelly just dropped in to say hi. Hi, Kelly.
Oh, hi.
We talked about you earlier not having snow, so we're all mad at you.
Yeah.
Now, actually, I mentioned too, what you told me about is how you wish you had snow for the water, and that's true. I'm really glad we got snow for that purpose. I love the streams and the rivers and all the lush green stuff. And when it snows like this, usually we have nice, pretty, lush, green springs and summers.
Mhm.
If you guys, I don't know, if you're new here, if you go look at some of these old videos, I have videos of our like outdoor treks and stuff we do.
And then also the insect populations are more under control too, typically,
Oh, because of the
when
snow?
we have a good hard snow and freeze.
Yeah, water is life. So I feel like water is life. Like, is that what he would say?
Probably.
Water
David
is
Attenborough.
life, which it really is, because it
Yeah.
starts out the entire food chain. So you have more green, you have more bugs, you have more bacteria, and it goes up the line. And so everybody's happy. You have more water. And so, yeah, should be nice. And hopefully, Kelly, you guys get significant moisture for the area to provide you clean, pretty streams and water and greenery.
Yeah.
Anything else? Oh, my wrap-up questions. Should I ask some of these? What would you change for next time, and what were you glad you already had in place? You know, I'm glad I already had in place. I'm glad I asked that question. I'm glad I had the stupid quail waterers. I put in quail bucket waterers with little nipple waterer things with heaters inside.
Yes, per my insistence that he swapped
So
them.
last year we were doing the hillbilly version, which was replacing frozen waterers, which was a real pain. So we should have not done that. But this year I put on buckets with heater. I have a video for that. It's in the shorts if you want to see what it looks like. It's a real easy setup.
The nipples, though, they're anti-freeze for the most part. Nipples instead of like cups or something.
Yeah, so the water's not sitting. You'll look at it if you want to see it. It's in that video. So I'm glad I did that. What would I change for next time? Oh, God, I didn't really think about that. So what were you glad? I'll come up with something for the end of this. What were you glad you already had in place? And if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. And what were you glad you already had in place, and what would you change?
I don't know.
I know what you were glad you had in place. You had a shoveler.
A shoveler? You?
You had a back-breaking labor worker.
Well, we were focusing on different shoveling locations.
Yeah, we
but
were.
yeah, I don't know this year because like each year it's like trying to do improvements. I had my heating elements in the waterers. This year I got some newer ones and they work better than the ones I had before. So I'm glad that I went, and they have longer cords too. I focused on those before the winter.
I've noticed this, what I'd like to replace. And it's not my fault. This is crappy. Those dropping pans for the quail.
The trays.
They are horrible. They deteriorate much faster. Have you noticed that? Like when our first, like those first ones last for a year and a half, almost
I'm
2
sure
years.
the quality changed.
And these supposed steel oil pans, they're like, what, 3 feet by 2 feet, big
Something
pans.
like that,
You slide them out. The ones we have now, we're getting the same brand from the same place, but they deteriorate and they rust out and fall apart much faster. Like I noticed that because the brand new ones are already starting to
really
go kind of bad. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to find out what I can use in place of that.
What would you like to ask the audience?
Audience, do I have a question for you guys? Let's see here.
Same thing. Did you guys think of something to do to put into place before winter came along?
Before freezing winter came.
That made life easier, or is there something that you would like to change? For next year, for sure, after your experience this year.
And for Donis, if you're watching, you don't have freezing winter. You have beautiful weather year round.
Is there something that you have to keep in mind with like the hot weather specifically?
Yeah. If you have some wise words
think.
to put in, let me know. But if not, that's fine. I think that's just about we'll wrap that up.
Yeah.
Is that okay with you, ma'am?
Yeah, I think so. Let us know your thoughts and comments, and we will respond and get back to you guys.
Kelly said she was watching on the TV.
Yeah.
That's funny. I never seen the YouTube on the TV.
Yeah, I don't know. I might have.
I guess people
Sometimes.
watch it on the TV. Everybody does this now.
Yeah.
Let's sit on the phone. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, winter's fun. I actually like the winter. I just don't. I much prefer the summer. I love the sun and the summer. It's pretty. I like when we go on hikes in the woods in the snow. I like being outside.
I do like the change of seasons because it changes the season of life as well, what you're focusing on and the type of energy you're using because it's just different. Everything's different. The daylight's different. That's hard for me to handle is the daylight change. But it's just a different season of life, and if you're adjusting, you're expecting that, then you can focus on different things during that time.
I'm one of the weirdos who likes being sweaty.
Mm-hmm.
Like I enjoy feeling saturated in sweat.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an animal.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like summer. You can be in my animal state.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, another couple of weeks of this, and then it'll very, very rapidly shift into spring, at least in our area, because it comes really quick.
It's very true.
And then there'll be a whole host of new things to do, and fixing and building and repairing and replacing, and I guess that never stops.
Maintenance. No, it doesn't.
Well, there you go. And yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, thanks everybody for watching. If that was
a pleasure seeing you guys
interesting,
here.
if you guys like what you see here, what you hear, what we teach, and share, feel free to subscribe, like the video, comment.
Yeah, if you have any, what did you say?
Feedback?
Class suggestions. If you have any suggestions for like a future educational, let me know. Alex wanted to know about quail business practices. I still have to do my quail business video, like talking about that. I recorded video for raising quail, and is it still a wise idea, or can you still sell quail in 2026? And the short answer is it's extremely saturated. Everybody's doing that, so you have to really
but of course you
market
can,
yourself.
just like anything else. But yes, you have to.
Yes, you
market
can.
yourself. Yeah.
I don't want to get into the whole technicals of that. But okay, guys, it's been always a pleasure, guys. Oh, Donis is still there. Thank you, honey. It was nice seeing you. Thanks for coming in. Enjoy your warm weather. We have to make fires. We're like the Neanderthals. we make fires and sit next to fires in our house. All right. All right, guys. Have a beautiful night.
Bye, everyone.
Ooh, storms coming up again potentially this weekend on the East Coast.
I guess it depends on where you are.
So be prepared. That's what Scar says from Lion King. All right, bye.
Bye.